Hey everybody, welcome to Dad's Den of Pop Culture. We're talking comic books today. In particular, we're talking Spider-Man versus Wolverine. This is a rough copy of this book, as you can see. I pulled it out of a 50-cent bin, but I really enjoyed it and thought that it was not only a good story and well told, there's sort of a bit of meta commentary going on in this thing. I thought it was worth taking a closer look at. Let's pull it open here. Stan Lee presents High Tide. Okay. Now, this book is from February of 1987. At least that's the cover date. So probably written earlier. Written by James C. Owlsley, penciler Mark Bright, inker Al Williamson, colorist Petra Scotese, Bill Oakley is the letterer and Nocenti, editor Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. Now, James Owlsley, and he has later changed his name to Christopher Priest. Started as an intern with Marvel back in 78, worked his way up, became the editor for Spider-Man from 85 to 86, and then left Marvel for DC over some, it said, personal and professional disagreements. All right. Now, this is being published in 87. I presume it was maybe written while he was still editor there, and they decided to publish it later on. So you could maybe see where some of those disagreements were in this book, but we start off with Wolverine in his older costume, the blue and yellow. By this time, he was already in the orange-brown costume. So we have him, claws are popped, and he's trying to rescue somebody named Charlie, and he is on the bad news side of the Berlin Wall. So this is Cold War era. Of course, 87 was still Cold War era, if you get right down to it. But this is presumably earlier on. And Charlie is a friend of his, a freelancer in espionage who took a job with the KGB. And he said, I wouldn't do that if I were you. You can't trust KGB. You can't trust CIA. But Charlie did it. And now these operatives are here to kill Charlie. And Wolvie's not going to allow that to happen. And here we have, he's talking a little bit about, he has the adamantium bones, etc., and getting the claws. Here we'll pull in on this particular panel. They added the claws when they fixed my skeleton. That hurt too. I'm a guy who's been thoroughly messed over by the human race. You won't find me crying in my soup, though. I am what I am. I like what I am. End of story. There were 20 angry gun barrels aimed at me. I felt a smile coming. It didn't stop. That's the kind of Wolverine we have all, came to know and love. Good art in this by Mark Bright. Really good art, in fact. All right. So we get a fight scene. I kept smiling. Blood flew 13 feet in the air. You could see it over the top of the wall. Charlie didn't want to see me like this. Guess that's why Charlie and I never saw much of each other. When I was like that, I killed anything that moved. And I never quite knew when it was over. Till it was over. Charlie was gone. I counted corpses. Charlie left alone. The charm proved it. Charlie's way of saying, I won. Charlie's corny little trademark, a private joke between us. Guess we'd accomplished whatever Charlie set out to do there that night. We'd survived. Guess that was something. I never saw Charlie again. Okay. So that's the Wolvie we know, and that's from something in the past. We don't know exactly when. Here we are in the present day with Spider-Man. He's in the black costume at this point in time, and he's cruising around, sees this girl running through the crowd, and also notices this woman who looks very out of place, and he thinks maybe I should take a photo, but no, I need to figure out what's going on here. And so he pops down in front of this crying girl. Hiya, Dimples. What's with the waterworks? Sophie, Bert. I'm an idiot. Blast. Okay. Why is he an idiot? Well, Sophie and Bert are a couple that run a grocery store. in the neighborhood, and they have been killed. And he's really hard on himself, not only for not being able to stop it, but for the fact that he, a professional news photographer, is going to take pictures of it, prime photos. Something he has to do. It's part of his job, and he really hates it at this point. So we have the newsroom, the city editor usually hates his stuff. How does she say it? Usually your pictures look like you stuck your camera to a wall and set the auto shutter. But she likes these, and he's like, I just want to get out of here and throw up. Though, Spidey's probably seen death before. So that's kind of interesting. And again, this is somebody who was with Marvel since 78, had edited the line. The writer knows this. Keep that in mind. Parker! And here's J. Jonah Jameson, trying to figure out what's going on. Darth Vader with a crew cut, as he says. What are you doing down here, Pete, my boy? You know how hard I'm working on my new project, Now Magazine? I need fine young photographers, experts in the field. Now, if I remember correctly, was Now Magazine the one that Carol Danvers was the editor of? Ms. Marvel? I mean, that would have been a little earlier than 87. I swear that I know she was editing something for him. Anyway, so he's trying to do this, and they're interrupted by Ned. Ned leads. It's urgent. We can't wait. Got to talk. All right, Ned, talk to me. Peter runs home to Aunt May's. Well, he's not his home, but to Aunt May's house. He's late for dinner. Has a talk with Mary Jane there. We got an arguing couple, etc. He apologizes, the typical stuff. And he goes off with Mary Jane to go see a movie. So they're down at Times Square, and they apparently see Sylvester Rambone in Python. So that was a hit movie, huh? Pete, old boy, you need to let your hair down a bit. It's guys like you who keep shrinks in business. I'm sorry, MJ. I just don't think some guy with a machine gun mowing down people is a good time. I hate this whole macho movie shtick. Come on, Tiger. Let's zip down to the Palladium and dance that frown away. He gets the Spidey sense. Always loved that they've stuck with that image of, half Spider-Man, half Peter Parker. So he's on to something, and it turns out that there's a sniper. And again, he's unable to stop the killings from happening, and he feels really kind of useless. So he heads back to MJ's apartment, and, she's like, stop it. You're wearing a hole in my carpet. You're just one guy, Peter, Spider-Man or no. There was nothing you could do. Hey, Peter, don't do this. And Peter kisses her. Okay. He's just trying to hold on to something, but he knows he's probably just screwed up their friendship. I see horror in her eyes. I forgot the rules. I crossed the line. I forgot to tell myself, forgot to believe Mary Jane isn't my girlfriend. I've just ruined a perfectly good lie. And then we flash back for a moment to Ned and J. Jonah Jameson. Ned has information on these people who have been shot, that they were in fact Russian spies. Okay. And Charlemagne, which is what Charlie was called, Charlemagne is probably behind it. This is a big story, and he wants to pursue it. In the meantime, we have Spidey, once again, throwing away the costume. I'm never putting that suit on again. Spider-Man is finished. He's done with it. So, basically, J. Jonah Jameson decides that he's going to send Ned and Peter, as photographer, over to Germany to run down this story. Who is already in Germany? Wolverine. Okay. So Wolverine's kind of musing over the fact that he figured out what was going on just based on who was being killed. He checked up a little bit. He knows Charlemagne is back. This is a rough time for the X-Men. We got Storm with the awesome mohawk at this point still. And she's saying, you can't leave us now. We need you. And he's like, well, my friend needs me too. I'm sorry. And so off he goes. And we get a scene in the park where a couple of muggers try to take Wolverine out, and he beats the crap out of them. And then they get shot. And they get shot by a couple of KGB agents who think that, those two people were like his contacts or something like that. I let them see my eyes. They aren't impressed. Things are going to get real tough real soon. Here comes that smile again. This is, standard Wolverine. And so he deals with these two guys, or he's about to deal with these guys when something happens. Ooh, Charlie, 2 more for the list. So I was right. Charlie is here in West Berlin. And I know for a fact the only reason I got the scent at all is Charlie allowed me to. Charlie's a pro. Pros watch wind shifts. Charlie's still acing off KGB. If I check my list, I'll bet those 2 guys were in on that old operation too. I'll bet folks are just getting dead all over. I'll bet Charlie is settling the score. So we do see him every once in a while kind of meditating. So now this is kind of interesting. Wolvie's on the streets walking, and he catches a scent. Whoops, sorry about that. I pick up a scent. That sets off all my alarms. I'm genuinely surprised. I don't show it. Be patient, Peter. 90% of investigative reporting is waiting. But Ned, I've got a life stateside, We've been here for days, and no sign of the Charlemagne guy. That kid. Never saw him before in my life. But sense don't lie. That's Spider-Man. Logan knows who Spider-Man is. Okay. So he's going to come visit Peter Parker that night. Now, he doesn't know exactly what Peter Parker is up to, etc., but he's like, we got to talk and we can't do it here. So they leave the room. He's got his, his belt, his web shooters and stuff. So he's, he's wall crawling without the costume on, which is kind of a cool image. I like Wolverine in the back. And basically what's happening here is Wolverine is saying, dude, you and your buddy need to get out of here. This is big. Go home. Forget you ever met me. Stay alive. That a threat? No. This got something to do with that Charlemagne guy Ned's looking for. Look, kid, the less you know, the better. Get yourself a plane tonight. Try and convince your reporter friend too. You don't know anything. You've never been anywhere. You lead with your face. You're in way over your head. So 20 minutes later, he's back at the hotel, and he discovers Ned has been killed. Throat slit. I can't breathe. I didn't even notice my spider sense. So these guys start talking to him in German and then Russian, and he's kind of just standing there. Now, again, you go, well, wait a minute. This is, this isn't like, fresh out of high school Spider-Man. This is a dude with a lot of experience. I mean, if this was a role-playing game, Spidey probably has more experience points than almost anybody else in the Marvel Universe. He's got 3 books at this point and had Marvel team up, which kind of they dropped and brought in Web of Spider-Man. He's guested in everybody's book multiple times. But again, there's kind of a meta story going on here. So Wolvie crashes in and goes to work. And again, he's kind of freaked out at all the killing and all the blood. You get the picture now, kid. These guys aren't playing around. Do yourself a favor. Get lost. So he's going to do that. He's going to go home. He's going to get on a plane. He's going to leave. But there's one problem. It's dumb, but I can't help it. If Wolverine hadn't led me away from the hotel, Ned might not have been killed. I can't tell the good guys from the bad guys anymore. It's none of my business. It's not my problem, but I can't help remembering my Uncle Ben's words. With great power comes great responsibility. Well used here. So he's like, I got to do something. I got to do something. But he goes, first of all, I'm barefoot. I need to find a costume. So he finds a costume shop. And the guy's like, we got no black bodysuits. We really don't have anything. In fact, the only thing I got is something my son's going to wear to a costume party tomorrow. But it's not black, and it's rather silly looking. I just want to die. Let's look at that. There he is, being confronted with the original suit. Or as he says, well, almost, because on the back it says, Die Spinne, the spider. But it is kind of cool. He goes, the night wind cuts through me. The lights of the city sparkle around me. I feel like I'm free again, like I can fly, like I'm in love. Suit's not bad. It's just like my original outfit. Well, almost. Had to beg that guy for half an hour before he'd part with it. So he's back in Spidey, his old suit. He's looking for Wolverine. He put a tracker on him, and he realizes he's in East Berlin now. So Spidey manages, well, without too much trouble, because after all, he is Spider-Man, to make it over the Berlin Wall. Has to deal with some landmines, Again, really good art in this thing, and it's on the better paper. And the colorist, I think, did a good job, because sometimes when they first went to the better paper, some of the coloring was not really up to snuff with the better paper. And it didn't always look super good until they kind of got used to it. Great job here. Nice moves. We do actually get him making a smart remark. Hi, guys. I'm Inspector Schmidt from the Silence is Golden Foundation. Automatic rifle fire can cause extreme hearing loss, brain damage, and bad breath. Have a nice day. The snappy patter comes automatically. By the time I realize how absurd it is to be cracking jokes in the face of death, I'm half a mile away. There's no turning back. I've got to do what's right. So he busts in and discovers that's not Logan. I think I goofed. And what does he see on here? There's the tracker. You're in over your head, bub. Go home. He's kind of PO'd. Meanwhile, Logan is kind of following up. This is a factory, a lot of dead bodies. It turns out not really a factory. It's a KGB front. And Charlemagne is there waiting for him. And you've been yin-yanging me all over this bird for too long. I oughta punch your lights out. Hello, Logan. It's been quite a while. So Charlie is a woman. Now, to be completely honest, the Charlie we're seeing right here doesn't really look a ton like the Charlie we're seeing right there. A little bit of trickery there. Okay. She takes him back to this house she's renting, a really, really, really big, really, really nice house. His plan is to sort of get her off of this quest before a lot more people get killed. They go out to this restaurant, and here we see a guy who is poisoning the fruit that he's going to bring to their table. He notices a second after she figured it out that that's what was going on. We'd better go and ruin our meal. Logan, everyone in this room is heavily armed. They will attack us soon enough. Let's not spoil things. And then something happens. Oh no. Spidey is here. For crying out loud, what's a fella got to do to see a menu in this place? Hey, Wolverine, did you know the fruit was poisoned? Yes. Did you know you're trapped in here? Yes. Did you know everyone in this joint's packing some mean hardware? Yes. Just how bad have I screwed up? Real bad. What should I do now? Duck. And so we get a fight scene with these two. And in the midst of it, Charlemagne runs and gets out. So these two manage to fight their way out. Again, there's some really good art in this one. It's, it's funny doing a little reading on Owlsley / Christopher Priest, that one of the things he wrote after he left Marvel were some Green Lantern stories in Action Comics Weekly, which I just happened to be reading. And last night, in fact, and I was looking at it going, damn, Bright doing some great artwork on this. So Bright was working with him on that too. So, okay, next day, Wolvie is now in the suit and they're tracking down leads. And it's sort of eye-opening to Spidey. He tears into them without hesitation. He topples them like pins at a bowling alley. And suddenly I'm freezing up like an amateur. I am an amateur. Put it in gear, kid. I can't wet nurse you here. Get real or die. Wolverine couldn't know how scared I am. These men are killers, cold-blooded murderers. Panic makes me sloppy. Gotta pull my punches. If I don't watch myself, I could end up killing someone. I get the feeling Wolverine wouldn't mind. What am I doing here? I'm so blasted useless. So, okay. Again, we got to be going into meta commentary here. These guys are cold-blooded murderers. Dude, who has Spider-Man been fighting for the last, at this point, 20 plus years? Dr. Doom, the Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, and numerous street thugs with guns. He's not really new to that kind of thing. Now, he doesn't want to kill, sure, but he's been fighting people who wanted to kill him that he didn't want to kill for a long time. And obviously, Owlsley / Priest, I'm going to call him Priest from now on, since that's his name now. Priest knows this. This isn't like him being some amateur who doesn't understand Spider-Man lore. He knows his Spider-Man lore. So there is meta commentary. And there's a point where he's like, okay, dude, you're friggin' nuts, And now Wolvie's actually blaming him for everything. It's all your fault. What? If you'd kept your nose out of this, if you'd gone home when I told you to, I could have kept Charlie in check. I could have hidden her away, kept a lid on. Then you come in with your cute song and dance at the restaurant. Hold it, shorty. I tried to save your life. As far as I'm concerned, you and your lunatic bimbo ought to be locked up. Don't push me, bub. No problem. I'm out of here. Walk east till your hat floats. Nuts. The man is nuts. He's not wrong. And here we have a moment where Wolverine's kind of like, yeah, I was too hard on the kid. I got to apologize when I get back to New York. And he's blaming himself, for Ned's death, for everything, as Peter Parker is wont to do. So we get now to the final scenes in the story, okay? In a cemetery in East Germany. Charlemagne shows up. Sooner or later, her luck will run out. There's no place on the planet where she'll be safe now. She's facing the inevitable. That's where I come in. If she's got to die, she wants to die in my arms. She wants me to do it. She tells me if I ever loved her, I'd spare her the KGB torture camps. If I loved her, I'd pull the plug now. Okay, that's pretty big. Charlie's my best friend. I love her very much. Snicked. I flinched. She's still alive. I want to say goodbye, say anything. Instead, I just pop my claws, one last cut, and it'll be over. Whip. It's Spider-Man. You're crazy. You're absolutely nuts. You're killing your own girlfriend. What kind of maniac are you? Back off, kid. This is too deep for you. You don't understand. You'll never know the life I live. I'm doing this for Charlie. Okay. So we're going to get a fight between these two. And it's not going great for Spidey, at least initially, because he still kind of holds back. And he finally realizes, though, it's me or Logan here. This is it. Here it comes. Spider sense all the sense that's left there. And he pops Wolverine in the side of the head and starts hitting him again and again and again and again and again. You even see the stone is starting to crack, and he won't go down. He just keeps coming. I finally realize there's only one way to stop him. I finally realize one of us is going to die tonight. I let him tackle me. I draw him in close. I finally know what he is. I ask God to forgive me. I have to kill him. Squirt. Don't even kid yourself. We both know the only way for you to beat me is to use all your strength and snap my neck. Bang. You win. Thing is, I'm betting my life you ain't got the guts for that. You don't know how to kill, but I do. All I got to do is pop my claws up through your throat. So there you go. All right. And that, that's pretty real. So helicopter shows up, light. Wolverine's doubled back for cover. I figure I should have done the same, but he thinks Wolvie's coming up from behind. He turns and hits and realizes he's hit Charlie. And he used all of his strength because he thought it was Wolverine. She doesn't make a sound. I watch her fall. The woman I was fighting to save. We did it, Logan. We won. I got them all. They never got me. Didn't have to be this way, Charlie. We could have made it. We could have walked away. We could have been free. You're a poor liar. We both know there's no place for us in this world. I'll meet you in the next. And this is Wolverine. Charlie committed suicide. She knew what she was doing. She knew how cocked Spider-Man was. She knew she shouldn't have gotten anywhere near him. She was a pro. She got what she wanted. She checked out before the world got her. And Spidey's going to be working this one out for the rest of his life. And so these guys all show up. Their target is gone. They leave. You know, she's dead. And you have these two sneaking back over, and he keeps on picturing what happened, what he did, you know, over and over and over again as he's on the plane, as he gets back. Parker, you're finally back. So he's home. Phone rings. It's Jonah Jameson. Got your film in the overseas pouch this morning. These shots are great. Charlemagne is real after all, and he's a she, and she's dead. Armies of guys in Brooks Brothers suits holding smoking AK-47s. Wonderful. You're not nearly as bad a news photog as you appear to be. So, where's Ned? I can't stand it. I should tell him before the authorities do. I can't. It just doesn't stop. Nuts. I'm not ready for this. Your aunt told me you were getting in. Hey, Pete, are we still friends? I could use a friend right now. Guess I could manage that. Welcome back to your world, Tiger. I hold her tight. I close my eyes. We make the pain go away. End. So, first of all, it's a good story, and it is the more adult storytelling that we were getting in the late 1980s. A lot more death, etc. But, like I said, I think it's a little bit more than that. There's a meta commentary going on here. As I said, people trying to kill Spider-Man shouldn't be shocking to Spider-Man. People are trying to kill him all the time in all sorts of weird superhero-y ways. Spider-Man freaking out about causing a woman's death. Well, that's happened before, obviously with Gwen Stacy, right? So now, obviously, I'm not saying it wouldn't scar you again, but it's not something he's never dealt with before. But the interesting thing, while I was reading this the first time, I pick up a couple things like that going, well, you know, I mean, it's not like he's never done this stuff before, but at the same time, it did feel right. It felt correct. Because that's not exactly the tenor of those old stories from the Silver and Bronze Age. Yes, technically, Green Goblin's trying to kill him, but it's a comic book story, and it's heroism, and as dark as it could get once in a while, it was mostly light. But now we're in the late 80s, and we're seeing this transformation. Marvel in the Silver and Bronze Age, Marvel is Spider-Man to a great extent. He's their most visible, popular character. He's in everything, etc. And there's a certain tenor to the Spider-Man stories that are suddenly shifting, because now we're heading into the modern era of comics. And the most visible Marvel character is becoming this guy, Wolverine. Wolverine's going to be guest starring in about as much stuff as Spider-Man here pretty soon. And along with Wolverine, the Punisher, right? Something's shifting. A tone is shifting in the Marvel universe. And to me, there's kind of a meta commentary in this book about that shift of tone. The old Spider-Man that we all knew and loved is feeling useless in the new Marvel universe that's more grim, violent, dark, adult, very often. Not entirely. It doesn't change completely, but it kind of felt like it was going to at that point in time. What's his place? Where's he belong? So, good story, good meta-narrative too, about Marvel and the shift it was going through, and frankly, the shift DC was going through as well. They were a little bit, I think, ahead of Marvel on that game, but maybe not that much though. So there you have it, folks. Spider-Man versus Wolverine. Really good story by Christopher Priest. Really good art by Mark Wright. And a really interesting meta-narrative about the comic industry at that time and how it was changing, and this sort of, not quite, but almost the passing of the baton from Spider-Man to Wolverine. Let me know what you think in the comments about this book and about some of my ideas on it. I'd love to hear from you and hear what you have to say. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, maybe subscribe, maybe share with a friend. That would be very groovy. But until next time, God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun out there. And I will hopefully see you again soon in Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Bye-bye.